Study Section 7. Methods of collecting statistical data. Introduction. In the previous session, you learned the various ways in which a set of data can be summarized and calculated, some descriptive statistics, examine the shape, and how summaries can be combined and corrected for errors. In this study session, you will learn about the various methods that can be employed in the collection of statistical data. Learning outcomes for study section 7. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to explain the various methods of data collection, discuss the problems of data collection in Nigeria, the various methods of data collection. Data collection is an activity aimed at getting information to satisfy some decision objectives or for purpose of scientific inquiry. The process of data collection varies with the nature of inquiry, objective of the study, and characteristic of the unit of inquiry. Methods of data collection. There are 5 broad methods of data collection. They are documentary sources, observation, mail or postal questionnaires, personal interview, telephone. 1. Documentary sources. It is sometimes possible to answer some of the questions a survey is intended to cover from available data. Inquiry concerned with the leisure activities of a town population may verily begin by getting statistical data about the use made of the local libraries, attendances at cinema, membership of clubs and societies. A mass of information about the popularly studied social surveys is available in historical documents, statistical reports, records of institutions, and other surveys. Government departments possess a mass of information relating to individuals. Some of these are census schedules, employment records, insurance cards, health records, etc. The only difficulty is that a survey researcher can hardly expect to gain access to these materials. Some materials are collected in form of case records by psychiatrists, social workers, etc., which are of interest to the sociologists and psychologists. Such materials have limitations for the research workers in that it can only represent a highly specialized population, that is, only the case that happen to come before social workers. There are personal documents which can come directly from the informants, such as diaries, autobiographies, and surveys. These give insight into personal character, experiences, and beliefs that formal interviewing can hardly achieve. The possibility of any investigation bias affecting their content is eliminated. The use of this method has many difficulties, e.g. A. How to get the documents. B. How to get a representative collection of documents. Some people are better writing letters and essays than others, but not everybody can produce documents, and they are at their best when unsolicited for. The method of data collection is usually by copying out the relevant data from the records available. 2. Observation. Observation as a method of data collection is defined as accurate watching and classic method of scientific inquiry as they occur in nature. The observer positions himself and observes the activities of life of a community. The observer positioning himself to observe depends on A. The nature and size of the community, B. What he wishes to observe, C. His own personality and skill. An example where this method is suitable is in the case of traffic censuses. Actual measurement or counting also comes under the heading of observations. Examples occur in statistical quality control. Problems. 1. If the characteristics of the population are to be inferred from those of sample, the sample should ideally be randomly selected. 2. To instruct an investigator to observe people of all types, men and women of different ages, social class, etc., does not make the sample a random one. It does not ensure that the resultant group is representative. 3. The observer can hardly be expected to observe and note everything relevant to the subject. 4. His selection of the aspect of behavior and entrainment which he notes may follow certain channels. 5. If what he is studying is so familiar, he may fail to note the normal, etc. In-text question. Merits. The advantages of this method are similar to personal interview, and the method has some unique advantages such as 1. Providing more reliable information. 2. Supplying of additional and necessary information. Demerits. The disadvantages are also similar to personal interview. 1. It is exceptionally certified. 2. Highly trained personnel are needed for observation. 3. Because of scrutiny, it is time-consuming. 3. Mail or postal questionnaires. This is one of the most widely used methods of data collection, mostly in social surveys. Questionnaires are mailed out to respondents who in turn are expected to send them back through the post when they are duly completed. The choice of this method is governed by A. Limited resources, B. Economic advantages, C. Potential efficiency. In-text question. Merits. 1. It is generally quicker and cheaper than other methods. 2. It avoids the problems associated with the use of interviewers. 3. It is useful when information concerning several members of household is required and allows for some intra-household consultation. 4. It is useful where questions demanded is considered rather than when immediate answers are required. 5. Questions of personal or embarrassing nature are answered more willingly and accurately than when the respondents are together with the interviewer who is a complete stranger to them. 6. The problem of non-contact in the sense of respondent not being at home is avoided. Demerits. 1. The method can only be considered when the questions are sufficiently simple and straightforward to be understood with the help of the printed instructions and definitions. It is unsuitable where the objectives of the survey take a good deal of explanation. 2. The answers to mail questionnaire have to be accepted as final. There is no opportunity to probe beyond the given answers. 3. It is inappropriate where spontaneous, unplanned answers are wanted or where it is important that the views of one person only are obtained or where it is essential that one particular person in each household fills the questionnaires and no one else. 4. The answers cannot be treated as independent since the respondent can see all the questions before answering any of them. 5. There is no opportunity to supplement the respondent's answers by observational data, his house, appearance, manner, etc. Some of the disadvantages of this method can be overcome by combining it with interview method. 4. Personal interview. This is the method that is used mainly in most surveys. It could be a formal interview in which set questions are asked and the answers recorded in a standard form, or a less formal one in which the interviewer is at liberty to vary the sequence of questions, to explain their meanings, to change the wordings, or where he or she may not have a set of questions at all but only a number of key points around with which to build the interview. The interviewer should possess some vital qualities such as A. Honesty, B. interest. C. Accuracy. D. Adaptability. E. Personality and temperament. F. Intelligence and education. Merit. The interviewer is free and has more opportunity to restructure questions whenever it is necessary to do so. It allows more accurate information to be obtained by asking the respondent for further explanation. A skilled interviewer can easily persuade an unwilling respondent. This will increase the number of responses. A skilled interviewer will know when to make callbacks and then make more effective efforts. In addition to recording verbal answers, the interviewer can note the non-verbal reactions of respondents to questions. It can be used for persons of all educational levels. It can be used to explore areas in which little information exists. In-test question. Demerits. 1. Personal interviews are expensive to conduct if the sample to be taken is widely scattered geographically. 2. Unscrupulous interviewers may be biased by influencing respondents' answers or records to please him. 3. The respondent, in order to boost his image to please the interviewer, may give biased answers. 4. It may be difficult to interview some individuals such as highly income and influential people who are not always available. 5. If recalls are necessary and when the sample is large, it will take more time than necessary to complete the survey. 6. Respondents may give inaccurate or false information due to lapse in memory, misunderstanding, or may be deliberate. 7. Larger field staffs are needed for interviewing. 5. Telephone. This is the method of collecting data through the telephone. Like other methods, it has many advantages, especially in industrialized countries. In a developing country like Nigeria, this method of collecting information cannot be efficient because of the inefficiency of the telephone system. Merit. It is faster than other methods. It is cheaper to collect information by phone than personal interview. It is more flexible than postal questionnaires. It encourages higher response rate than postal questionnaire. Recall of respondents is quicker and easier than any other method. It is the best method of access to every difficult respondent. It facilitates recording of replies without causing any embarrassment to the respondent. It is very suitable for radio and television surveys. Apart from the fact that the telephone system is not effective in a developing country and therefore renders the method unsuitable, it has other demerits. Demerit. A. Survey by telephone is limited to respondents having telephones and obvious evidence of bias. B. If the population is widely located all over the country, cost consideration will limit extensive coverage of the country. C. The interviewer may be biased and as a result influence the respondent. D. Cost consideration may restrict the number of questions asked or the time given to the respondent to answer the questions. E. Answers given may not be treated in confidence as the telephone could be bugged or even dropped. Limitations of data collection in Nigeria. Generally, secondary data are limited in scope and information derived from it may not be satisfactory to all the needs of the researcher. This may also lead to reduction in scope of the research work or bringing in certain assumptions to fill the loopholes created by insufficient information. In-text question. Summary for study section 7. In this study session, you have learned 1. The various methods of data collection. 2. The situations under which each of them can be employed were also highlighted, as well as their relatives' merit and demerit. 3. Also, the problems usually encountered in the process of collecting statistical data. This is the end of study section 7. Thanks for listening.